friends, let us deal with one of the important concepts of C language, that is arrays. Before we go ahead and speak something about this particular arrays or explain the concepts of this particular arrays, first I need to understand the need of this particular arrays. Why do I need these arrays? When I have the fair knowledge about all those concepts which I have studied, like say loops or your functions or your conditional statements or your data input output instructions, still why do I need these arrays? More oftenly, the concepts which we had spoken till now or which we have seen till now, they will help us to generalize a mathematical task for us and be a part of a real life example. It will not be a complete real life example. If I had to illustrate something from the real life situation into programming language, probably we will need these concepts of arrays. Let's take up a situation and try to find the need of this particular arrays. Assume that I wish to perform a task of reading, say, two numbers and adding those two numbers, displaying the sum. Or if I had to find the largest of, say, three numbers, then probably I'll go ahead with a simple task of conditional operator. So assume that there are three cities and I have read the temperature of these three cities. For our simplicity, I'll consider them as integer values. Assume that I have int A, B and C, where A, B and C represent the temperature of three cities. And I'm supposed to find the largest of these temperatures. So let me take one more variable L to store the largest of these cities. Now, I'll read the values of A, B, C. So I'll not write the instructions pertaining to this. So right now, at this point of time, you will be comfortable with the instructions. So I'll say printf, enter the temperature of three cities, scanf, %d, 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 ampersand of A, ampersand of B, ampersand of C. And then I'm supposed to find the largest of these three numbers. So what I'll do is, I'll say L equals to A greater than B. If this is true, then A will be largest. If not, if A is greater than B, so A is largest. If not, is that the condition? No. You are supposed to add up something else along with this. So A greater than B and A greater than C. If this is true, it means that temperature of city A is largest. If not, then I'll say B greater than C, true, B is the largest, else C. I've used a nested conditional operator in this case. And then finally, I'll display the value of L. Suppose if I say along with the largest, if I need to redisplay all the temperatures, so here I'll write display A, B and C. So first of all, I need to read the temperatures of cities. Then I have to find the largest of these three cities. Then I'm supposed to display again the temperatures which have been read. And finally, I have to display the largest. Now, let me expand this particular real life situation into more complicated number of data. Now, what if I ask you to expand this particular concept for, say, 10 cities? Or let me exaggerate this particular situation. I'll say that I have total 50 number of cities. So, obviously, the first difficulty which I face is in this particular case. I had to declare 50 separate variables to store the temperature. So, if I have to store 50 variables, it means that I am supposed to be ready with those instructions which will be manipulating all those 50 data, all those 50 variables. And more oftenly, remembering all those 15 variables or 50 variables is not a simple job. If you feel that somehow you have that particular patience of defining 50 variables, if you are through with this first step, definitely you'll get stuck up in the second step. In the second step, I'm asking you to read a set of 50 values. Can you imagine how difficult it will be to read 50 values? I'm supposed to say scanf with 50 specifiers, %d, 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 and so on and so on. And after that, I'm supposed to write all those 50 variables one by one. If you feel that somehow you have that particular patience of doing this as an alternate, then definitely writing a complicated instruction with the conditional operator with 50 values is next to impossible. Definitely, you will say, I give up. Because writing that particular nested conditional operator with 4 or 5 variables itself is tedious. How you can imagine writing a conditional operator with 50 values? Difficult. So Obviously, from here onwards, the level of difficulty keeps on increasing. So what will be the solution then? Now I can think of these concepts called as arrays. Why you are defining 50 separate variables? Why don't make one variable to store 50 values? So now it means that I am supposed to increase or expand the size. When I say expand the size, the first thing which strikes your mind is long or double. No, long or double will only expand the memory, not the number of data. If I say int a or long int a, both are going to store only one data. Probably the memory size might be 2 bytes and 4 bytes, which says that the numbers or the range of numbers which you can keep is larger, but you can't store multiple data. So in that case, what I need to do is I need to declare a declaration in this fashion. I'll say int a. Why don't we make this particular a to store all the values in itself? So in that case, what I'll do is I'll say put square bracket and then 50 in this particular case. When I say int a of 50, it means that this a can now store a set of 50 integer values. How exactly this particular memory location gets allocated? Assume that this is my a. There is the first location which is of 2 bytes. There is the second location which is of 2 bytes. Third location 2 bytes. Fourth location 2 bytes, and so on till the 50th location. Internally, the first location is referred as a of 0. The second location is referred as a of 1. The third location as a of 2. So it means that the 50th location is referred as a of 49. So I can now store the data or all the 50 data to be precise in this particular a itself. So now I have avoided declaring 50 variables. I have declared only one variable as 50. So we have taken out the good amount of task in the first step itself. Now let's analyze the second step. How do I read 50 values? I'm supposed to read the first value at this place, second value at this place, third value at this place, fourth value at this place. It means that I have to read the first value at scanf a of 0, second value at scanf %d ampersand of a of 1. Do you feel that I have reduced the job? No. In fact, I have burdened you with extra value. So it was more option that scanf would have been %d, 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 %d. Now I'm asking you to write scanf again and again. Wait for a while. You check out what is the difference between the two scanfs which are stated. I stated the first scanf as scanf %d, ampersand of a of 0. Second scanf as scanf %d, ampersand of a of 1. If you compare the two scanf instructions, you will find everything identical except this particular value. We call this value as an index. So the first index is 0, second index is 1, third index is 2, fourth index is 3, fifth index is 4, and so on and so on. The 50th index is 49. Why don't we do this way? Why don't we write a scanf in this fashion? Scanf %d, ampersand of a of I. And take this particular I from what to what? For 50 values, I have to take this particular I from 0 till 49. When I'm studying this, so from 0 to 49, the first thing which strikes your mind is a for loop. Why don't we take this particular I from a value called as 0 till 49? So what I can do is, I can embed this as for I equals to 0, I less than equals to 49, I plus plus. I can put this particular scanf. Now here, a single instruction of scanf is now responsible for reading how many values? 50 values. If I ask you to modify this particular task for 100 numbers, there will not be much change. I'm supposed to just declare array as int a of 100, and then I'm supposed to start from 0 till 99 and use this particular scanf. Obviously, displaying process will be again same for loop, but this time I'm supposed to use printf, so displaying task is also reduced. Okay, manipulation can be done using some logical operations. That we'll see as we proceed with these lectures. So basically, when I say arrays are nothing but the variables which are going to store a set of values, not a single value. So when I set a set of values, those set of values had to be of similar type, right? So we can now formally declare this particular array. So array as a collection of data which are of similar type. Let me place the definition. So the definition of arrays goes as a collection of data which are of similar type. Now question comes, are these memory allocations static? Yes, memory allocations are static by nature. They are not going to be expanded, but we can create dynamic also. And the last point which I wish to highlight about this particular arrays is, depending on the data storage, we have one-dimensional, two-dimensional and three-dimensional. So as we proceed further, we'll look at these one-dimensional and two-dimensionals for our task. So that's about the basics of these arrays. Thank you.